All right, today we're going to dive into one of the shortest and honestly, one of the most intense letters you'll find in the biblical canon, the second epistle of John. I mean, this thing is tiny, but wow, it packs a punch. It's basically a 2,000-year-old emergency broadcast, a super urgent warning about truth, lies, and what happens when a community's very survival is on the line. So let's get right into it.
So right out of the gate, we're hit with this huge mystery. The author doesn't even give his name. He just calls himself the Elder. And who's he writing to? The elect lady and her children. I mean, what does that even mean? Is he writing to an actual woman and our kids? Or is this all some kind of code? Figuring this out is everything, you know? It's the key to the whole letter.
Okay, so an ancient, urgent letter. Let's really set the scene here. We need to understand who's talking to whom, because this is no casual, how's it going note. This is a dead serious message from someone in charge to a community that's in real trouble.
So, who is this elder? Well, that word is a big deal here. It doesn't just mean he's an old guy or, some local church admin. No, this title means he's a heavyweight. He's a major teaching authority, someone who is a witness to the original Christian tradition. So when he speaks, it's not just his opinion. He's speaking for the truth, for everyone who knows it.
And what about the elect lady and her kids? Well, it turns out this is almost certainly a metaphor, and a really beautiful one at that. The lady is a specific local church, and her children, well, that's the congregation, the members. And you've got to see why this is so important. This isn't a private note to one person. It's a public announcement to an entire community, and that just cranks the tension way, way up for the warning that's about to drop.
So the elder then lays out the foundation of this community. What's their DNA? It's truth, love, grace, mercy, and peace. But listen, he's not just throwing around nice words. He says these things come directly from God. They're the actual building blocks of the church. And he's laying this out for a reason, because this very foundation, it's about to be shaken to its core.
All right, walk in truth and love. Now, you might expect the elder to just launch into his big, scary warning, but he doesn't. He does something really smart first. He builds a connection. He reminds them of the good stuff, what they're already getting right.
Instead of a warning, he opens with praise. It's a classic move, right? Before you tell someone they're doing something wrong, you tell them what they're doing right. He's earning their trust, building a rapport, because he knows he's about to ask them to do something really, really hard.
And he tells them straight up, I was overjoyed to find some of your children walking in the truth. You can feel it, can't you? He's not some distant critic. He's genuinely thrilled, like a proud parent, seeing them live out the faith they all share.
And this leads to a super important point he's making. It's not enough to just know the right things. He keeps using this word, walking. He's talking about action. It's about living out this truth and love every single day. Faith isn't a philosophy class for him. It's a way of life. And this whole idea is the launchpad for the warning that's coming next.
The deceivers have come. Okay, here we go. The tone is about to shift big time. The warm-up is over. Now the elder gets to the real reason he's writing, and it is a full-blown crisis.
There's a shadow hanging over this church. And here's the kicker. The threat isn't coming from outside. It's an inside job. It's people who used to be part of the group who have gone out from them. These are ex-members who are now spreading a totally new and, in his eyes, totally dangerous idea. An idea that to tear down everything they've worked for.
And he gives this threat a name that's pretty intense: the Antichrist. Now hold on, this isn't about one single evil figure like in the movies. For him, Antichrist is a label for a whole group of deceivers. And what defines them? One specific idea. They refuse to admit that Jesus Christ actually came in a real, physical, human body. To the elder, this wasn't some tiny detail you could agree to disagree on. No way. This belief was a deal breaker. It cut right to the heart of their entire faith.
So his warning is about as subtle as a punch to the gut. He basically says, if you buy what these people are selling, you lose everything. The stakes are just off the charts. He's telling them to be on guard, because if they fall for this, they risk their entire relationship with God. It's not a setback. It's a total wipeout.
So what exactly was this dangerous new teaching? What made it so bad? Well, the way the elder sees it, it's being sold as an upgrade, a new and improved version of the faith.
It really boils down to this simple but huge contrast. On one side, you have the teaching of Christ. That means abiding in it, just sticking with a tradition that was handed down from the very beginning. On the other side, you've got this new group that claims to be more advanced, that they're going beyond the basics. But the elder's verdict, it's absolutely brutal.
He says if you try to go beyond, you end up with nothing. You lose God completely.
And what we're seeing here is basically the blueprint for heresy, right? It's a pattern that's repeated over and over again, even today. A dangerous new idea almost never shows up saying, "Hi, I'm a lie." Instead, it dresses itself up as a deeper truth, a more enlightened path, Christianity 2.0. It's that classic temptation of feeling like you've got some special, superior knowledge that the regular folks just don't get.
Okay, do not welcome them. We've got the community, we've got the threat, we know what the bad idea is. So what's the solution? This is where the letter gets really intense, and frankly, for a lot of us today, pretty shocking.
The elder's plan is, well, it's absolute. It is severe. He doesn't say, "Hey, let's have a debate," or "Let's hear them out." Nope. He sees the danger as so massive, so toxic, that the only answer is a zero-tolerance policy. There is absolutely no middle ground here.
And here's the command, word for word. Anyone who doesn't stick with the teaching of Christ should not be received or welcomed into your house. You have to understand, in that culture, hospitality was a sacred duty. It was everything. So for him to say, slam the door in their face, that is a truly radical command. It means cutting them off completely, drawing a line in the sand and refusing to cross it.
But wait, he's not done. He goes even further. He says that even offering a simple greeting to one of these people is like joining their team. You become a participant in what they're doing. See, in this situation, being polite, being hospitable, that's the same as giving them your stamp of approval. So the only way to protect the truth, he says, is through silence and separation.
And then, after dropping that absolute bombshell, the letter just ends. It's really abrupt. The elder apologizes for being so brief and for having to use paper and ink. He says he really wants to visit and talk in person. It's a really human moment, right? It reminds you that behind all this fire and intensity is a real person who actually cares about these people and would much rather be with them.
And that leaves us with a pretty tough question, one that feels incredibly relevant today, doesn't it? The elder's solution was radical. Build a wall, shut the door, keep the bad ideas out. But in our world, an age of endless information and misinformation, with deep, deep divides everywhere we look, this ancient letter really makes you think. How does any group protect the ideas it holds dear? And is it even possible to guard that truth without just building walls and closing yourself off from everyone else?